Nippon Steel completes buyout of U.S. Steel. It's been one of the most difficult negotiation in recent memory, so you could almost hear the sighs of relief when Nippon Steel executives said they'd finally closed the deal on their buyout of the U.S. deal. Yeah, really, Rena, it's been a real saga, hasn't it? The Trump administration approved the takeover last week. But it wasn't until Wednesday the Japanese company officially announced it. The American firm is now a wholly owned subsidiary. Yuko Fushima from our business desk is here with the details. So Yuko, this has been a long time coming. It sure has. 18 months. In fact, Nippon Steel initially proposed a buyout all the way back in December 2023, so it's been a long road and there have been plenty of twists and turns along the way, but that's all history now. Nippon Steel called a press conference on Thursday to announce that the takeover is a done deal. We have two requirements for business: investment freedom of management and profitability. And the agreement with the U.S. government this time is fully satisfactory. The acquisition consolidates Nippon Steel's position as the world's fourth biggest steelmaker and puts it hot on the heels of Angan in third. The chairman says his company won't be satisfied until it claims top spot, a position it hasn't held for some time. Vice Chairman Mori Takahira will also serve as chairman of the board of the American firm. He was one of the main negotiators in the talks with the U.S. government. But Joseph Kraft is an expert on Japan-U.S. business ties. He says the buyout is a win-win for the firms. Steel is being bought out at very high price. They have been committed to a much higher investment over 10 years from Nippon Steel so clearly. And the employment is guaranteed for the U.S. workers, so there's very no downside and all upside. Secondly, Nibble and Steel also wins because they now have better access to a huge market like the U.S. Well, it's not all rosy though, like other experts. Kraft says that for the Japanese side, there are some risks in the fine print. Napoleon Steel had to ink a national security agreement with the Trump administration. One of the terms of that agreement is if the U.S. government holds a golden share. And that comes with certain rights. One of those is a consent right, which means the U.S. president has a right to say yes or no on certain matters. For example, if Nippon Steel wants to cut back on its capital investment, move jobs offshore, or close factories. In all of these cases it needs presidential consent. Well, Kraft says what this means for Nippon Steel is that it will never have control over the financial management of the American firm, and that could spell trouble when the chips are down. I don't see the U.S. economy, having a serious recession in the short term, and I think Nippon Steel's major focus will be to maintain its workforce and upgrade its facilities. However, 10 years from now, maybe 20 years from now, it could very well be a serious recession, and Napoleon Steel will have its hands tied as to how much flexibility it has in managing its resources. And the political atmosphere may have changed by then. It will not be President Trump at the helm. Who knows, perhaps in future governments they may want to have a say in not only the U.S. operations of Nippon Steel but maybe in Asia or India, the global operations. And of course, although that is not within the contractual form, the U.S. government could use the U.S. Steel as a hostage to put pressure on Nippon Steel and its other businesses. And what implications might this deal by Nippon Steel have on other Japanese companies and foreign companies looking to buy American companies in the future? Yeah, well, I think the biggest question we all have is, will the next M&A deal be required to also offer golden shares to the government? So if you want to buy a U.S. company, you have to give the U.S. government some say in the operations that could be detrimental to a U.S. investment. Although Nippon Steel achieved its goal, it also puts a question of making this example and what it might have, what effect it might have on other future M&As. The road here has been a long one, but the path to profit could be longer still. We'll be sure to keep you posted as the dust settles.